Ouagadougou, 7:42 a.m. Chaotic transit, hysterical horns, dust rising as if the asphalt breathed with anger. Ibrahim Traoré adjusts the tie in the rearview mirror of his semi-new Corolla, the most visible symbol of the distance between him and the past. He is late for a meeting of those where everyone pretends to be changing the country, while competing who speaks more words in a coach French per minute. In the passenger seat, an Evian water bottle forgotten. In the glove compartment, a crumpled copy of his curriculum in impeccable French, things that are no longer for anything, but that he carries as a shield. As he stopped at the traffic light, he sees a scene that at first makes no sense. A curved gentleman, selling sleeves next to a makeshift tent with blue canvas, slaved pants, a shirt that was already white one day, and that walking floor. Ibrahim frowns the forehead. Something in it contracts, like a forgotten emotional muscle. That man cannot be, but it is Professor Malik, the same one that 10 years earlier taught her African literature with a passion that didn't seem to fit in a molded room of the university. The same one who refused to lower the level of classes, even when the light fell and the fans stopped. Same as he said, looking straight into Ibrahim's eyes, "Do you want to get out of here? So learn to think. Thinking is the only luxury no one can take you." Ibrahim holds the steering wheel tightly. Your coffee in hand trembles. The signal opens, but it does not start. The cars behind begins to honk, annoyed. A motorcycle almost shaved in the mirror. It swallows dry. Professor Malik does not see him. It is too busy trying to convince a hasty woman to buy 2 sleeves for 1,000 francs. Ibrahim steps on the throttle. Slowly, go away. But something is there. In the rearview mirror, he sees the figure of the old shrink, as if disappearing. That day would just be another Tuesday with reports, spreadsheets, and flattering disguised as networking. But it wasn't, because Malik's image would be stuck in Ibrahim's mind as a farofa in the corner of his mouth after lunch, impossible to ignore, even if he tried to follow smiling. And when he arrives at the mirrored office of the office, something unexpected happens. He cries, right there, in the stainless steel elevator between the ground floor and the 3rd, without understanding why, not knowing that reunion was just the beginning. The elevator reaches the 3rd floor. Ibrahim takes a deep breath, wipes his face with the blazer sleeve, Ralph Lauren fake, but no one needs to know, and tries to recompose the expression. The standard face of the man who wins in life, neutral, slightly bored, with a touch of casual arrogance. As soon as it steps in the refrigerated corridor, the thermal shock is almost symbolic. Outside, 37 degrees, and memories too hot. Inside, 19 degrees, and people who pretend that emotion is poor thing. "Good morning, Ibrahim. The meeting with the Belgians was advanced, see?" warns Clarice, the coached smile assistant, and eyes they judge. "Great," he replies, trying to look busy with his cell phone. But on the screen, only the reflection of the face itself, and a hammering thought. Why was he there? Selling fruits? Professor Malik? Sitting in the meeting room, between PowerPoint graphics and words like synergy and scalability, Ibrahim hears no one anymore. The image of the old teacher on the street invades everything, as an impossible notification to ignore. Was he fired? Are you sick? Abandoned by the state? What if I had stopped? Talk to him. The last question comes like a slap of those who leave no mark but make the eye tease. Later, at the end of the hours, Ibrahim decides to look at the bottom of one of the boxes he has never opened since he moved to the new apartment. There are the traces of his version that wore slipper to go to class and thought that face toothpaste was anyone with a lid that did not break. In the midst of the old, the printed curriculum of when it was formed, crangled, yellowish, full of formatting errors. But there, among the final thanks, a name appears in bold with almost childish affection. "I especially thank Professor Malik for teaching me to think beyond the circumstances." Ibrahim sits on the floor, stay looking to the paper like a ghost. It was supposed to be just nostalgia, but it is shame, it is debt, it is pain. And like every functional adult who doesn't know how to deal with feelings, he decides to resolve this with immense action. He gets up, picks up the car key, and leaves, aimlessly. Want to find Malik, talk to him, do something, perhaps giving money, a job, anything that relieves guilt with the appearance of charity. There is only one problem. In that street, at the same point, the teacher is no longer there. The blue canvas disappeared. In place, there is only the hot floor and a cell phone recharge salesman, which says, "The old man? Ah, he only appears from time to time, sleep around, sometimes disappears for days." Ibrahim returns to the car, feels something that doesn't know how to name it. It's not just guilt, it's fear of also disappearing. Ibrahim spends the weekend like a suit zombie. He weighs expensive environments and hollow people. It goes to a brunch where everyone comments on social impact while eating quinoa pancakes that cost more than the minimum wage. No one would know who was Professor Malik. No one would care. But Ibrahim can't forget. Sunday afternoon makes the most pathetic decision possible. And he knows that. Decides to make a post on LinkedIn. Yes, LinkedIn. The magic land where the guilt is polished until it becomes engagement. He writes, "Today, walking the streets of my city, I saw an old teacher, a man who once changed my life, selling fruits on the sidewalk. This made me reflect on the importance of educators and how society leaves them. I was thrilled. We need to value more who build future." 5 minutes later, the post pump. Blue hearts, inspiring comments. Gratitude is everything. Congratulations on sensitivity. But Ibrahim feels sick. Literally. Go to the bathroom and vomit. Because the truth is that he did nothing. Not even a question. Not an offer. Not a glass of water. He only wrote one text. Worse, his part that still cares is ashamed of his part that was public to pretend to care more than really care. The next day, Clarice enters his room and says, "Ibrahim, the post is viralizing. Communication people want to turn it into a company campaign. You would be the face. They are talking about social transformation with corporate soul." Ibrahim's soul slips around the window at that moment, but he smiles. "Of course I smiled. The good soldier smiles even when she steps in shards. Of course, Clarice, you can mark the meeting." That night, he returns to the same street for the third time. The place where Malik was became a ghost scenario, but Ibrahim brings something now. A bag with clean clothes, a decent snack, a bottle of water, and hope. But the old man does not appear. Just a boy, barefoot, looking curiously at the bag. "Was that old man?" he asks. "It was for him, but it can stay," Ibrahim answers. The boy smiles, thanks, and runs out. Ibrahim sits on the sidewalk. For the first time in a long time, stay there, stopped, without a suit, no pose, just with the feeling that something in your life has taken off the place and no longer comes back. Wednesday, late afternoon, the golden light copper, or gone as if trying to soften a city that does not forgive anyone. Ibrahim is in the back seat of a company car, going to another corporate event where everyone talks about resilience without ever having faced the lack of rice at the end of the month. But it doesn't get there. Halfway, asks the driver to stop. It jumps out of the car, takes off his tie, and enters a tight street in the Gungin neighborhood. A university friend told him he became Malik around, near an NGO that serves soup at night. Ibrahim walks slowly. Each step is an apology, without words. And then he sees Malik is sitting on a bench, curved cement bench with a bowl of soup in his hand. It is thinner, the most marked face, but the look still has that mixture of sharp lucidity with tiredness of those who saw a lot of stupidity to be awarded. Ibrahim approaches, not knowing whether to speak, but it speaks. "Professor Malik?" The old man lifts his eyes slowly, recognizes, smile lightly. A smile that does not judge, but also does not relieve. "Traoré, Dona Adama's son. I thought you had become minister." Sarcasm is subtle, dry, almost a affection. Ibrahim sits next door. They are silent for a time that seems rehearsed. "I saw the Lord that day. I wanted to stop, but I didn't stop. I know. I wrote a text. Speaking of the Lord." "Of course you wrote. You always liked the aesthetics of action than the action itself." This phrase hits Ibrahim as a well-educated punch. It swallows dry. Do not rebut. It cannot. "What happened, teacher? How did you get here?" Malik shrugged, eats a piece of bread. "Same story as always. They cut off my contract. Then came the disease. Then I lost the rent. Then no one else asks." Ibrahim lowers his eyes. It is there, with the tie tangled in hand, unable to say anything that does not seem useless. Until Malik stares at him and says, with that tone he used in class when he wanted to break the arrogance of a student too smart. "You're not here for me, Ibrahim. You're here for you, to relieve your guilt, and that's fine. But no, not to pay for soup. Not with post." Silence. The sun is falling. The street gets empty. "If you want to help me, come back and try to change the crap of the system that throws people like me here. Teach someone, hire someone, but don't turn it into a fable of overcoming." Ibrahim nods. For the first time, you feel that you need not justify anything, nor promise. Just listen. When he says goodbye, Malik is still released, with that usual dry humor. And see if that French is improved in LinkedIn. The conjugation was a disaster. Ibrahim laughs. A small, tired laugh, but sincere. He returns home without a tie, without a mask, but with something new, the truth crossed in the throat. The following Monday, Ibrahim enters the meeting with the directors of the company where he works. The room has a glass table, air-conditioned in Arsene Penguin mode, and people who use words like philanthropy without ever stepping into a neighborhood where sewage runs in the open. Their plan is clear, capitalizing the post from Ibrahim. Create a campaign with the title, "From the Student to the Leader," a tribute to the teachers who form the future. He hears everything silent. PowerPoint, conceptual videos, pompous French slogan, the icing on the cake. They want to take Malik to a symbolic recognition event with badge, banner, and a microphone in half. Ibrahim closes the laptop slowly. Look around and loose. The campaign is beautiful. The problem is that she is a lie. The room freezes, literally and figuratively. "What do you mean?" asks the director, a French with cold smile and hydrated ego with compliments. "That if we had found Professor Malik without a viral post, no one here would have moved a finger. That honoring someone who was thrown away by the system only after he appears on the nets is hypocrisy." Silence. Clarice wide her eyes. The French wrinkles the forehead. "So? Don't you want to participate in the campaign?" "I want something better. I want the company to fund a real retired teachers support program with scholarship, housing, assistance, not a video with inspiring background. You're talking about cost, budget. I'm talking about shame in the face." The meeting ends abruptly. Ibrahim knows that he has just cut his own wings. That may be signing your exit, and don't care. That night he goes to the NGO again. Malik is there, taking strong tea and discussing politics with a gentleman who seems to have been skeptical. Ibrahim sits down, wait for the right moment, and says, "Teacher, the company wanted to use you to look human. I said no. But I want to do something truly, not out of charity, by justice, and why I'm not able to sleep." Malik stares at him. For a second, it seems surprised, but soon smiles. Really, this time. "So, okay, let's see if you are more than a suit with good speeches." From there, a plan is born. A small project. Nothing revolutionary yet, but real. Ibrahim begins to use his network of contacts to connect former teacher to opportunities. Accessible housing, microbowls. It's little, but it's the beginning. At the end of the month, Ibrahim receives an email. Was disconnected from the company. Subject, incompatibility of vision. He reads, "I smiled." Malik, next door, says, "Welcome to the club of those who bother. It has less status, but more emotional mattress." 3 months later, Ibrahim lives in a smaller apartment, with walls that hear the noise of the street and neighbors who speak too loud. The refrigerator has no Chilean wine, but rice and beans are up to date. He now works as an independent consultant, helping NGOs and small projects not to drown in the bureaucracy he has learned to maneuver in the corporate world. Wins less, sleep more. The Malik Project, a name he was reluctant, but the teacher himself made a point of approving sarcastically, is far from being a revolution, but has already served 17 former teachers, got housing for 3, food bag for 5, and especially, it rekindled the conversation about how to go out, who teaches. One day, sitting at a popular coffee, Ibrahim gets a visit. It's Malik, with a clean shirt, beard made, still limping, but with a living look again. "I spent there at the NGO. I learned that you refused a prize last week. It was a leadership award. I thought it didn't match what we're trying to do, because I should have accepted, just to get the microphone and say something that made the pregnant uncomfortable." They laugh. Complicity is now equally. Malik looks out the window. Then you face Ibrahim seriously. "You didn't save me, Traoré. You have returned to me. This is worth more than any medal." Silence. Good. Before leaving, Malik delivers an old notebook. It's yours. I kept. It was what you wrote most. Poems, ideas, and some very creative insults to oppressive system. Ibrahim Leaf. I laughed at seeing a scribble in which he wrote, 19 years old. One day I will still return what this country has taken from you. He closes the notebook. The throat squeezes. I think I'm starting. Right? Malik only nods. It goes away slowly, as who is no longer in a hurry to prove anything else. And Ibrahim is there, thinking that perhaps, only perhaps, success is not going up. But go back and take someone together.